I'm just nervous. 3, 2, 1, let's dust. Oh, sorry. I said let's dust. So, I said let's dust, not go. So this is Dustforce. I'm already screwing it up a little bit, but that's okay. It's a 2D platformer about janitors. You clean stuff. It's pretty cool. So starting out, I guess I'll explain Green Dude first. His name is Dustforce, Green Old Man. It's easier to describe them by characters. He is floaty and has long attacks. But he jumps really high. But his attacks are kind of slow, and like I said, he's floaty, so he doesn't fall super fast, and he takes a while to fall. He also struggles with abusing another mechanic in the game, or using another mechanic in the game called ground boosting. And going into Firefly Forest now, we're gonna play Dustman. I didn't explain my category, so that's okay. I'll do it afterwards. Actually, I'll do it first. So I'm doing 16 red keys. It's the main hub of the game, and when it's not in New Game Plus, you need to beat every level with an SS rating, S completion, and S finesse. S completion is getting all the dust. If you spread dust by killing an enemy, you need to collect that as well, and you need to kill all the enemies, or clean them. Not really killing them. Oh, that was kind of scary. And S finesse is never dropping your combo, so you don't die once you have combo, or die to spikes. It's kind of finicky. And you can't not collect dust for a certain amount of time. I don't remember how long it is exactly, but it's a reasonable window, so it's not too bad. But mostly it's you don't want to die. Both dying would be slow, and yeah, so that. For general mechanics, we got your standard, well, not universal, but it's pretty standard platforming there. Got a double jump, got some attacks, and you have a dash. What's unique about the dash in this game is, outside of setting your speed to your max, it doesn't actually give you any speed. It sets you to your fastest run speed. But what it does do is it locks your momentum. It locks your momentum pat if it's higher than the normal cap, which we'll be able to hopefully see in tunnels and fields coming up after Dahlia. So I guess I'll explain the blue and red characters last. But this is Dustkid. Dustkid has 2 double jumps, and they're 2 double jumps and really fast attacks. Yes. Exactly that. So yeah, Dustkid has 2 double jumps, and well, she has a triple jump, which is characterized by air charges. So you can dash and you can jump in the air. That's pretty important for some sections in the run, but mostly levels that are outside of this run. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. So Dustkid is really quirky with how she moves. She kind of falls slow, but she has she falls, I don't know, she controls very awkwardly. She has, like I said, a double or a triple jump, and she has really fast attacks. But she has really short range and low jumps, so it kind of makes up for it. Well, it doesn't really. That's the entire thing. There's very little reason that you'd want to play Dustkid outside of really enjoying her on most stages. So that's a really good example of what I was talking about how you can really cap your speed over it and go pretty fast for long periods of time. And lastly, for Dustman and Girl, they're the 2 blue and red characters, respectively. And they're like the generic platform character. They have pretty average jump height and range, with the exception of their down heavies being absolutely disgusting. They're extremely good moves. Yeah, like, it's just absolutely, it's pretty insane. In comparison, damn, I didn't jump fast enough. In comparison to the other characters. So, And so, one other mechanic I didn't explain is when you kill an enemy, you get your air charge back, so you can dash or jump again, which is pretty handy for going quick. I didn't check if I actually... Okay, I did. I thought so, but I didn't want to leave the level. If you, so early exiting is... The game continues when you exit a level for about... It's like a few frames. Oh, I heavied too early. Oh, I did it again, but this time it didn't matter. I'm also supposed to light attack that, not heavy. So I don't know why I did that, but that's okay. And I did it twice. This level is super sick when you go fast, Overgrown Temple, but I've been really screwing it up lately. That's okay. Oh, no, we're good. Alright, so, yeah. Medium range in both regards. Dustman and Girl are slightly different, but they're mostly the same character. They have some slight differences, such as Dust Girl loses, she has higher friction on the ground, so if your dash rhythm isn't super good, which is how you maintain so much speed when you're going over your cap, you repeatedly press dash in a rhythm to... Sorry. Mashing is kind of hard. Oh, okay, we're good. You rapidly press dash over and over again to sync the dash so you don't lose any speed. Where's Firestorm? It's me. I hope he's losing. Thank you, Gekka. Yeah. Sorry, I wanted to prepare something for this, but I didn't really have time to. In terms of text. Oh, I did that against himself. Man, that sucks. So this is one of the game's many combat stages. It has 4. And they're all pretty disliked by... Well, I think the better you get at the game, the less people dislike them. But most of them I don't think are particularly great levels. They're really frantic and hard to get a grip on when you're learning. And then the strats are almost entirely bullshit. Sorry, I can't remember. I don't think I'm supposed to swear, so I'm going to try and not do that. Okay. So this is Ruins. This is a pretty good example. So this is the first gold level of the game. We need to collect keys. So what is this channel? It's a charity marathon channel. And I'm running the game for a marathon. Alright, sorry. I distracted myself for reading chat. So, okay, yeah. So the goal of this category is to get 16 red keys. There are 16 levels in each hub. 4 keyless, 4 wood keys, 4 silver, and 4 gold. The gold doors award you with red keys, which allow you to unlock some extra levels at the end of the game that are very hard, adequately named the difficults. And that's the first example of a gold, or so that's the second example of a gold level, because Wild Den, the first combat stage, hey, holy go, is the first gold level that we play in my route. So what's nice, the gold levels, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. So what's pretty interesting about this game is, I think for platforming affairs, the levels are pretty long. I'm doing most of them pretty quick, so you don't get to hear this game's fantastic, music. Lifeform did an amazing job, but, levels on average are like 30 seconds long. And some go upwards of a minute. When you're first playing through the game, Ruins, the level I was playing a little bit earlier, is like almost a 2-minute level, I think. I think that was my first SS completion. And now it's like just over a minute. But that's like, that is of the longer side, but they're still like full, oh damn, that sucks. They're still pretty long levels. And this game has no downtime. It is, you're constantly playing. Music is less fantastic when you've been trying this. I mean, yeah, but that's also because Yada doesn't have music until the end, unfortunately. Hey, Savid. So yeah. So after Ancient Garden, we're doing a little bit of a skip. It's not really, you can do some different movement, which is why you play Dust Kid. Because one thing that's really cool about this game is you don't play the character that's optimal for the level. This is most assuredly a Dustman level. He is a lot better at this game, or he's a lot better at this level than Kid is. But Kid has some pretty cool movement you can do up here to get to Night Temple. I didn't get the boost. Yeah. This game is like Celeste, but pretty clunky. That's a decent description of it. Bye-bye. So yeah, you can do some pretty nifty movement where you get a ground boost, because I didn't explain how ground boosting works. That's okay though, we can do that now. But you get a ground boost, and then you jump, and since Kid has extra air charges, she can just go on the side of it instead of going around. It didn't save any time there because I screwed up, but you know, it's okay. So ground boosting. So I think a big part of this game that I think is pretty divisive. Most people that play the game a bunch learn to like it, but it's a pretty debatable mechanic. Is boosting and just dash rhythm in general. Fuck, I need to. God damn it. I'm sorry for swearing. I'm going to try and focus on not doing that. Sorry. I'll speak more after I play Night Temple. This level's pretty hard. It's definitely probably the first wall if you play all the levels in a hub first before moving on to another one that you'll notice. Yeah. And I say I'll stop talking, but I can't stop. There's no way to turn me off, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it. I'm probably gonna need to do it again. No, okay, we're good. And sorry, I don't remember what I was talking about, but I was talking about ground boosting. So yeah, a pretty contentious topic in this game. Well, it's contentious when you're learning it, especially, is dashing and just how it works. It's really input intensive and it's really repetitive, but it's how this game gives you a lot of speed. So I like it a lot. It's pretty hard though on your hands. That is probably my biggest complaint with this game. This game has a wall to get into that isn't even mechanical. It's just the fact that physically this is a really demanding game to play for a long period of time. I'm of the unfortunate group of people who decided to use pretty much the default controls, or a subset that revolves around you dashing with your pinky, affectionately named Pinky Dashers. Which means I have to press the dash key with my pinky, obviously, but that entails me pressing, if I ever have a boost, which is most of the time I'm on the ground, I need to be pressing the dash button about 5 times a second, and with my pinky finger. So that's a little demanding. I suppose you just kind of get used to it, but yeah, it's pretty rough. Let's see, what else do I need to talk about? Oh, I guess this is a pretty good example of it. Just how this game really this game was coded really oddly. From my understanding, Lexi, the main programmer, just kind of kept throwing stuff on top of it until it just worked and felt good, which means it has a lot of quirks. We haven't seen it yet because I skipped doing a spike jump earlier on, but there's an exploit called spike jumping where if you could guess from its name, you walk or you jump on a spike. The spike needs to be on a 45-degree slope because your character needs to go into the state slide, and when you're in the state slide, you instantly jump from the slope. Unlike the ground, you probably don't notice it because you're not playing the game. But the game, everything in this game has a wind up to it, which is why I think a lot of people who first start playing the game find it really awkward to control. It's, the best comparison I can think of is if you've ever played Smash Brothers. how characters have a jump squat, it applies to this game as well. So everything has just a slight delay to it. It's not because the game's unresponsive. The game's really responsive. It reads inputs pretty well, but it's just a product of that they wanted things to have a lot of weight to them. So, okay, going back to what I was saying. So how it works basically is the game reads that you want to jump, and it just orders things. So you need no air charge. And when you have no air charge and you hold down on a slope, you'll instantly jump when you land on it. So the game reads you're in slide, and it's like, oh, you should jump, and it orders it in jumping is more important than you dying from spikes. That's how they program the ordering. So when you hold it, you just jump and it doesn't hit the spike check. So then you get away from the spikes before the spike check happens, because the spike hitboxes are pretty small in this game. They don't look small. I don't know how to really describe it, but they're pretty small. Oh, I didn't hit the slope. That sucks. But yeah, this is an example. This is Cliffside Caves. Oh, I missed this. We don't want that. This is a pretty good example of a boost map. This is a big reason why, I didn't mention this before, but this is a big reason why people don't like Mansion a lot. Mansion's levels are long, and they're really easy, but they're really easy to screw up. Like, with the exception of the gold levels, almost none of the levels in Mansion really pose much of a challenge. But if you screw up, you lose like 40 seconds. And it's easy enough to screw up. Like, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but like it's definitely like really easy to make a mistake and like accidentally not grab dust. And like and the other reason why people don't like Mansion is, as well as the game being, the levels being long and they're easy to screw up, even though like mechanically what it's demanding of you isn't super difficult, is a lot of them are boosting levels. So it's also really repetitive. It's tiring and repetitive to grind and learn strats for. But I also think that like hitting boost is super satisfying. Like, I don't know, you get such speed and it's really enjoyable to do. So this is an example of me choosing priorities in a level, whereas this level's pretty split between Man and Worth, of who's better. And generally speaking, you want Man, so the blue character, for boosting levels. Man and Girl have a higher drop velocity, so they so they get more speed from ground boosts. But Worth is the green character is incredibly good at climbing, and I find the sections climbing as Man a lot like tedious and kind of difficult to do really well. So I just opt to play Worth and have all of those be free, and then I sacrifice a little bit on the boosts. It also helps because it saves me character switches, because there's a bunch of levels back to... Worth is also really good. Like, Worth is probably the best character in the game for the most part, even though I think Man has more world records now, or has had them for a while. But generally speaking, you can get a pretty good time on every level with Worth, and it's probably not going to be as hard as another character, depends on the level, but a lot of them you can do pretty safe strats with Worth and save a lot of time. And then some are just like super good for him. But mostly the stages that are all about boosting are Worth. Kid excels in areas where you need to keep momentum in the air, which is very few levels. There's no level in the base game, or not in the base game, in the main Nexus, sorry, that really excels for that. Oh, I missed dust. Damn. I can't believe I noticed that. Alright, so this section in Library is like pretty enjoyable. Library has a lot of weird issues. Like, it doesn't run very well on a lot of people's computers, I think. I've heard people complain about the performance of it. I don't really get anything related to that, but it's not too bad. For me, anyways. This is an example of opening doors and like, well, because it's an animation to open a door, and we want them both open, And there's two animations that play when there's a lock. There's a lock that drops from the door, and then the door proceeds to open. So I just use the extra time you get from that to open another door and go up to it, since I need to go back to the level above it anyways, so I need to backtrack. This is another example. In any percent, or in New Game Plus any percent, you do a ground boost across the entire stage, and that's the entire level. It's like, I think it's a pretty enjoyable level to grind, but I also just like boosting levels. But I know a lot of people tend to really dislike it. This is the second of 4 combat levels, and I'm pretty bad at this one. I'm pretty bad at most of them. I would say the combat levels are my worst. I just, like, am not consistent. But that's okay. That's pretty decent. And we've only really had one major mistake so far. We died on Night Tempo, and this game is pretty hard to play deathless. I know it probably doesn't look too bad because I'm pretty decent at the game and I put a lot of hours in, so I'm pretty consistent. But this game is very difficult. It's probably its main, like, addition for me anyways. I really like its difficulty. It's really something you put time in to get rewarded. Like, this game, I would even argue, is not particularly fun when you start. It's really something I only started because I got inspiration to from another player. Well, can you still get a world record? Not on this run, I don't think, actually. I think the world record is good enough that I don't think I can anymore. My time is, like, my PB is about... What is the world record? It's a 46, I think, or something? No, it's lower than that. It's like a 43. Yeah, run is ruined. Like, not only is that this game is pretty difficult, but it also got optimized to the point where the world record does good strats. Like, I do a lot of safe strats that I'm comfortable doing. Yeah, my run does a lot of safe strats that I'm comfortable doing. And Camel, when he was playing, does like a bunch of strats that are much harder, that don't reward that much more time, and can make you die, as well as it being, I think he only like dies once or twice in the run. I expect about, oh, I actually didn't spread dust there. That's pretty cool. Oh, well, sucks that I spread dust there, but that's okay. Ramparts is another example of a pretty long level. Alright, sweet ahead. So we're going on to the golds of Mansion. Starting with Observatory. Is a 41. Yeah, like, it's insanely good. Camel, when he was grinding this game, did some, like, monstrous things. So this is, like, an example of when the game wants you to be a lot more precise. This is definitely a wall for a lot of players, I think. Damn, that was some pretty bad movement. There's some really cool stuff you can do in Observatory, but they're hard. Like, they're really hard. It's very hard to go fast on that level. But doing it first try is pretty nice. Just because it's pretty difficult. But yeah, I think Observatory is probably one of the highest difficulty curves in the main Nexus. Just because that level doesn't have any checkpoints. Luckily, I haven't been dying, so I haven't really needed to show the checkpoints off. But this game, oh yeah, Paradise doesn't have any music, so enjoy this nice silence and the soothing sounds of my voice. But yeah, Observatory has no checkpoints, so you need to learn the entire level in like one go, which is pretty hard to do, to be honest. It's very, very technically demanding. It's also one of the few levels that like really requires you to know where you want to go. Oh, okay. Someone should probably ban that because that is, yeah. Okay. So we're going on the tower. This is the last level in... Huh? What level did I miss? Alright, what? Why am I missing a key? I'm confused. I'm missing a key. I didn't open it, right? I don't think I did. Huh. That's interesting. I mean, I guess I opened it. Huh. I guess I'm just dumb. Alright, well, maybe I opened the door and I just didn't notice? No, I didn't. What? What? Why am I missing a key? That's interesting. Maybe? No, I'm missing it. I'm really confused. I didn't play Archive. Alright. Nice. I knew it. I forgot to play Archive. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot to play Archive. That's some good stuff, though. Alright, well, whoops. I had a feeling that I was gonna forget that level. I'm just happy it wasn't Forgotten Tunnel, because I really like Forgotten Tunnel. I think I'm in the minority of people that really likes Forgotten Tunnel. Yeah, I think it's just Dustforce. Alright, well, I don't know. Oh, okay, I don't normally, go up this way. But this is how man has to do it, man and girl. Alright, so we're good. Yeah, I think it's just Dustforce. Man, oh, that's unfortunate. This was going really well. Like, I mean, yeah, no, this was just going really well. And then I forgot to do Archive. Well, that's okay, I guess. And thanks, Quirk. I choke a lot on, maybe try refreshing? I don't know, sometimes Twitch is kind of finicky, I think. Oh, yeah, okay, this is an example. I haven't done it yet, I don't think. Well, I did, but I didn't think Dukes win it. So this... Did you do Girl Ascent? No, I did not do Girl Ascent. That was an example of dash jumping, so... Oh, man. Just bad taste? I agree. Alright. So, outside of that small blunder of wasting like a minute something. Oh, I still got the dust. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Alright, sorry. So, if you press dash and jump on the same frame, you will use one air charge, which most of the characters only have one air charge, to do a jump and a dash. It's really good when you need to switch your momentum around. I probably did it in tunnels and I just like forgot to talk about it. Because it's not super useful. Well, it's really useful, but I find it really inconsistent, so I don't use it a lot. this is these levels are a pretty good example of sorry, my brain is just not working apparently. These levels are a good example of the small differences between man and girl. Man has better light attacks for the most part. He falls slightly slower, and I mean he has less friction, but that doesn't really matter. But girl has slightly better heavies, and I really, for levels that involve you hitting dust through walls that you wouldn't play with Worth, I really like girl for. I try and use girl most of the time on those levels. I find it so much easier to just like get things done. Ooh, a raid. This is a pretty good example of how combat levels. This isn't a combat level, but I mean it's close enough to being one. That can be really interesting. I don't particularly like construction site, but it's a level that you can really get creative with your routing. But practicing the level is not particularly fun, so I tend to not do it very much. This is alright. Well, we missed it. Yeah. Alright. I don't know. I don't remember what else I haven't talked about. This run's pretty solid. I'm actually a little bit sad that I ended up forgetting to do archive, because I think if I didn't, this run would be like super good. I've been trying to get a sub 50 time for a while, and even though when you die in this game, you basically lose a minute. If you misselect the character and you don't know the strats, you either choose to play the level inoptimally. I mean, I can talk about Twirly. It's not gonna happen, but you either choose to play the level inoptimally with a character and potentially lose a bunch of time, or you just take like a 6-second time loss from the time it takes to leave the level, select the character, and start the level up again. So twirlies are this mechanic in this game where, because of how the game handles states, you can run up walls infinitely with no jumps by just getting off of a wall just far enough to reset it, and then yeah, reset your state, and then you go back to the wall and you run up it. It's pretty interesting. They're hard to do, and they require a really good sense of rhythm, I think. I don't know, I've only ever done it like once. I almost was pretty good at them. This level's Forgotten Tunnel. I think this level's sick as heck, and no one agrees with me. Level's cool, and you do fun stuff in it, and it's a level of a pretty... Like, there's a lot of ways of going about it. It's a level that was... I think it was designed for Worth, even though Worth and Kid were afterthoughts. Like, they probably wanted more characters, but I know it wasn't, like, a priority for them. And you can kind of see that, like, Kid and Worth tend to break levels more than they, really add to them. No, I like the loop section thingy. I don't know, I think the entirety of it's just really fun. Yeah, but it's like, that level is like awful if you don't play Worth, in my opinion. But if you do play Worth, then the stage becomes immediately like a million times better. Everything just flows perfectly for his moveset. He gets disgustingly good boosts and corner boosts and things of that nature. Alright, sweet. So hopefully I don't screw up basement. This level I've choked a lot. The last time I PB'd, I lost, or 2 times I PB'd ago, I lost like, oh my, I knew it. Oh, I missed it. I could have saved it. That sucks. Man, that's unfortunate. I knew I was gonna choke on basement as soon as I started talking about it. That's okay though. It's only about a 20-second time loss. That's kind of the, that's like the damn. Oh no. Alright, we're good. That's kind of like the unfortunate part of this game, is if you do the extension of this category, which is SSL, Oh, I just down dashed. Okay. Sorry, I'm not gonna talk. So we stop choking. Alright. I don't remember what I was talking about. But, so that's kind of like the major downside. It's a plus for the game, but it also makes it hard to run, is there's absolutely zero downtime in this game. The extension of this category, which is SFL, which involves the tutorials and the difficulties, the only downtime you get is, like, I think it's 15 seconds after you've done the entirety of red keys. And it's just because you need to open doors. Damn, I was way too high for that. There's a pretty sweet strat you can do on this level to skip a lot of the downtime by hitting all the dust through walls, but I screwed it up. Alright, well, we're going into the gold, or we have one more level. We have rooftops, which is it's a pretty interesting level. Its design is really different from basically every other level, both artistically and gameplay wise. It was the only level designed by Lexi, the main programmer of the game, and I think it really shows. I kind of wish he did more levels, because this is probably one of my favorite levels in the city. There's a bunch of strats. It's like a dash jump you can do over those spikes. That are really fun to do, but they're risky, so I don't want to do them in the run. Though I do think it would severely add to this level's enjoyment. At least for me, it did. There's all that really cool stuff you can do. So we're going into the golds of city now. We're starting with Clock Tower. Clock Tower is another level with no checkpoints. This is another big stumper for people, I think. It's pretty rough. It's pretty tight, and if you don't get enough dust, if you don't get enough dust for a super, then you're just, it's kind of rough to get into the ending part. Luckily, the level's pretty short. Oh, I'm probably not going to get enough dust now. Well, that's okay. Yeah, I'm not. So we'll just do the safe strat. Oh, I would have. Okay, we would have been fine. But yeah, it's luckily pretty short. It's about 20 seconds long if you actually play it correctly. So now this is Concrete Temple. Like, the golds in City are really difficult in general. They're like back to back to back some of the hardest levels in the game, or at least in the main game. Hideout is like notorious. Just if you want to imagine it for a moment, if you've never played this game, take any level you want, and then just cover the entire thing in spikes. And then that's a pretty accurate description of Hideout. People mistake the level for being a level about precision platforming, and I think that's why a lot of people struggle with it. It is easily, I think it's the best level in the stocks. Like, by a pretty large margin, actually. I'm not amazing at it, but I'm pretty good at it. It's a level I've been meaning to go back and grind more. I can't remember what the safety strat is there, but we didn't need it, so we're okay. Oh, I never explained ledge canceling. That's not okay. Alright, so another reason why this game feels kind of clunky. Yeah, I think Hideout's the best level. Another reason why people think this game, or they say that this game is pretty clunky, is your character floats over walls when you run over them, but you can down dash to immediately get on the ground. If you have an air charge still, you can do a technique called mantling, which is which is you use the air dash to put you onto the ground at a running speed. So that was Alleyway. Alleyway is probably my favorite of the combat levels. Actually, no, it's Wild, then Alleyway, and then oh, we do not want this. We could play. So this is another level. Hideout's another example of you can tell that they kind of just didn't account for the other characters. Kid can't normally get into this stage, like, at all. You have to, oh, damn it. You have to do a spike jump or a jorf. And jorfs are 1 pixels, and the spike jump is harder than the jorf. And so, yeah. Yeah, this game was ran as a race for any percent or new game plus any percent between Fish McMuffins and Fresh Maniac at SGDQ this year, and the run was super good. If you have not seen it, it was biased aside, I think it's probably been my favorite race out of GDQ. It really captured the spirit of the game, in my opinion. It really, even though people were trying to be serious, it really captured, I think, a big part of the personality and charm of this game's community. Because this game has my favorite community of, like, any game I've ever been on. The spike jump is easier by far. I disagree, but fair enough. Yeah. All right. So we are done with it. Hideout is, like, super rough. It is. I also think it is the hardest level in the base set or the main Nexus. Backup shift, I think, is harder to learn, but I think is not as difficult of a level. It just has stuff that it requires you to do stuff that they don't really explain to you, because this game never explains any of its mechanics to you. It just kind of expects you to learn them, and that's part of the reason why the Nexus is also gameplay, which is both a blessing and a curse. Because once again, there's no downtime, but yeah, there's no downtime, but it also makes for really intuitive, like, yeah, Hideout. When I mentioned earlier that that I think people struggle with Hideout a lot, especially when they're newer to the game. I didn't want to just run into the thing. Okay. Wow. I'm just sorry. I lost my train of thought again. So when I talked about how Hideout, I think people find it a lot more difficult than it is not because, I just said it was the hardest level, so it's probably pretty difficult, and that's true. But people take it as a precision map. But this game is almost never truly about precision. Like, it's demanding, so there's precision-based movement in it, obviously, but this game is entirely about momentum. And even though I don't always show it off, usually I think it's pretty obvious. I'm supposed to play Worth on this level, but I didn't. I just forgot to switch characters. Oh, damn. Getting the one heavy feels super sick. What about Loot Core? Loot Core's a custom map. Those don't count. But Hideout is the reason why I think Hideout is the best level in at least the stock maps. But in my opinion, it's the best level, like, yeah, of the stock maps, not just the main Nexus. Is because it is a map that flows perfectly if you play it correctly. And that's, like, super, it feels so good to do Hideout, like, just well. Alright, so we're mostly done the game now. We're in lab, so the last hub of the game. And like, the golds in Mansion and Forest were not too bad, and then City is like a massive difficulty spike for the golds, at least in my opinion. Night Temple's the only comparable level to anything in City. And I do think that City is more difficult than Lab, just in general. I think the levels are, in general, much more difficult. A lot of the silvers in City are, like, light golds. Scaffolding's a really good example of that. Oh, I jumped. I didn't mean to jump. Whoops. If it wasn't obvious by my reaction. Oh, I dropped my dash rhythm a little bit. That's okay. But I think the gauntlet of stuff you need to learn in lab, I think a lot more people would struggle with. It's pretty much the only time. Yeah, it's the only map that really has any form of air control, or it's the only hub that has really any major form of air control. And that's something that's not really explored in this category, sadly, because air control is definitely my favorite part of the game. It feels so good to maneuver between things really well. Oh, I was too high. So that was a dash jump there, for example, because I never really did it when explaining it. Sorry, I feel bad about my my explanation of things. It's so scattershot because I didn't write any notes or anything, and I really should have. But there's a lot to cover, and a lot of it isn't super useful all the time, and it's kind of baked in. Like I was consciously trying to think about dash rhythm because that's just a part of the game. It's just the movement at this point. It's not something I really think about. I did these levels with characters backwards. This is though these levels are both good with man and worth, security and research. I prefer the other way around, but I just like muscle memoried. Not really sure why, but you know, it happens. Most of the time, you can do pretty well on any level with any character. Kid kind of gets shafted a lot. No problem. Thanks for stopping by, holy cow. Yeah, Kid kind of gets shafted on a lot of levels, unfortunately, but her moveset's a lot more niche. She shines a lot more in the difficults. Okay, so we are heading into the second half of lab now. Oh, sorry, I never explained this, and that's something that kind of sucks about my route because you don't get to see a super cool exit from forest, but there's a boost from one side of forest straight into mansion, and it's super sweet. But okay, so an example of this game being kind of weird is this game has no friction on the ceiling. They have an animation that ties to it for okay, I was pressing the wrong key. That's not good. I mean, it's not too big of a deal, but still not great. Lose a bit of time. And I mean, you know, we're all about the time save. Sorry, I was talking about how the ceiling has no friction. So yeah, this game is kind of weird in its programming, like I said. And one of the quirks, as I was explaining it, is the ceilings just don't have friction. You slow down only because of an animation. Like, oh, they do, but the friction's incredibly low. So, like, when I was heading over to wiring there, you saw that when I jumped onto the ceiling, I just kept, like, all of my speed, and I was just zooming past. So this is the first gold of lab, or laboratory. And it's backup shift. It is another example of just coat everything in spikes. There's a funny story tied to this level. The Hitbox team got their marketer, I think, to do a couple levels, just for fun. And then, this was one of them. I don't know what the other ones were, but one of the designers, I think it was Matt, went through the level and just added spikes to everything. Like, basically everywhere he could. And then just put it at, like, the end of the game. This level is really easy to choke. Up top, so, something that's never... Oh, that's unfortunate. But we're good. That can be a little scary to save. It's pretty easy to die there. So, one thing that's never really explained... So that's an example of a spike jump. I can't believe I just did that. That was kind of silly. Is this hit rise in this game? There's very little of it. Like, it's pretty hard to notice. It's really only noticeable when you, sorry. I'm very bad at... Like, okay, I'd say I'm really bad at some stuff, but I'm very bad at containment. Like, it... What the hell is going on? Like, I genuinely, I'm like inexcusably bad at this level. Okay, cool. That's fine. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so hit rise. So when you're in the air in this game, and you hit something, you go up a little bit. An example is I just slid onto this, onto that platform. And that was entirely because I hit the slime dude. And the tunnels where you are hitting slimes and you're going through the tight corridor is notorious for just killing people, and they have no idea why. And it's because that is a mechanic that if they ever were to use words in this game, they should have explained hit rise. They also explained dash stuff really poorly, but that's kind of not as important. I think that's something you can figure out on your own. Oh no, we do core temple first. So we're coming up close to the end of the game. We have 4 more levels. We have core temple, access, abyss, and dome, in that order. Core temple is another example of like, this is generally one of the last 3 levels. Is this melee? Yes, this is melee. Core temple is one of basically the last 3 levels people get stuck on before they go to the difficulties. And it's pretty understandable why. It's really, like, it doesn't look so bad now, and it's not, there's some difficulty here. Like, it's easy to screw this stuff up if you like, don't play this game a bunch, or if you do things really early. I could have saved that. If I supered, I would have been good. But, like, this isn't too bad. But the ending of this level is, like, I don't think, I'm gonna, like, eat my words in a moment, I have a feeling, but it's hard, but it's hard very specifically. I don't know, there's a lot of things you can do to make it easy, or easier at least, but it's really intimidating. You get through this, like, trek of a level, because this level's pretty long, and then you get hit with some silly stuff. Okay. Well, that was cool. So this game has bad hitboxes. That's something I never really talked about. For a game made by Hitbox Team, they have actually kind of really bad hitboxes, and that's the section I was talking about. Yeah, the meat grinder. So that was core. Core is one of my favorite levels as well. It's super good. It has fantastic music and visuals. It's a little hard on the eyes though, I suppose. You're not gonna get to hear it because we aren't gonna go to the difficulties, because I didn't submit new game any %, which is the category I would have submitted if I didn't submit red keys. But I'm not very good at it, and I have barely practiced it. So I would have had to, like, work really hard, and I don't know, I just didn't decide to do it, which I kind of regret, but nah, it's okay. Regardless. So that was access. So we only have 2 more two more doors left. And sorry, I was talking about, when I said, oh, it's unfortunate we're not going to difficult, it's because of the soundtrack. There's 2 levels, there's 2 songs in the difficulties that are insanely good in my opinion. It's the song that plays for beginner tutorial, and then outside of the tutorials, it also does, I think Giga shares the song. Oh, we're gonna need to go back up. Well, that sucks. And then Dream Salvage, which is my favorite song in the game. Though I think that's a pretty underrated. Oh, Pet has such good music. I think that's not very widely agreed that as the best song in the game. Well, I don't think it's the best, but I think it's in my top 3. Undiscovery is my favorite, which you heard in Satellite Debris. Okay, that was kind of scary. Oh, I guess we're doing this. Oh, well, that's kind of unfortunate. Alright, so we're going on to the last level. So when I finish... God damn it, I can't believe I I play Kid in Abyss specifically so I can get into Dome easier, and I still screw the Dome entry up a lot. So after this level, when this level finishes, we're done. I'll say a little bit earlier, like just before we get to the end, when it'll be time, but this level's about 30 seconds, or it's about 40 seconds long. This level's super good as well. I think this game really shines through its really hard stages, not just because they're a pretty cool spectacle to witness. Oh, damn. But because there's just some really good levels in the later half, regardless of the difficulty. Yeah, oh man, I guess I didn't touch the wall. That slope is really finicky. I'm notoriously, well, I think notoriously at least, I really don't like it. Alright, so coming up to this section, it's gonna be time. When I super and I exit the level, it'll be here. So time. Yeah. That's Dustforce. If you want to speedrun this game, it's pretty hard to get into, but if you beat the game once, you can speedrun it pretty easily. You can do this category, or you can do any percent. There's also a category that's this, but for new game any percent. It's called Scrub Percent, I think. Affectionately named, of course. And it's just the same levels as these, but it's the any percent variants. Yeah. What else? Yeah, Dustforce is great. You should definitely check it out. It just looked remotely fun. Don't be discouraged if it's a little unwieldy to control at first. It's something that just becomes natural. This game is really like riding a bike. I stopped playing this game for like 3 months, and I came back to it, and I genuinely thought I was playing better than when I last played. So yeah. The community for this game is absolutely amazing. On the Dustforce Reddit, though it's been going down a bit lately. On the Dustforce Reddit, there's a link to the Discord. If you play this game, definitely check it out. Not only that, there's like thousands and thousands of custom apps, and they're all like fantastic. So yeah. The community is really the reason, I think, to run this game. The people in it are super cool. Savade, who was here earlier, is the reason I started running the game. He ran SSL at SGDQ 2 years ago, and my life has not been the same since. Since then, I've put 1,400 hours into the game. Alright. Thanks, good night, girl. Thanks, Ember. Alright, so I think that's all for me. Thanks for coming and watching and supporting the marathon. Have a good one. I don't remember what game's next. I feel bad that I can't send it up. Alright, so yeah. I guess I'll just cut it here. If you want to watch more cool video game action, stay here. And thanks for watching and coming and supporting. You guys are awesome.